Hey, I'm going to be making some peach mango jam. This is my first time using the peach mangoes. As you can see, the regular mango has more of the red and orange flesh or skin, whereas the peach mango, when it's fully ripened, has the more orangey yellow flesh. It's still a little green, but that means it'll be pretty tart still. All I'm doing right now is slicing with the mangoes and scooping out the flesh into my blender bowl. That way I can puree the fruit before I start to heat it and mix it with the sugar. I prefer to add pectin from fruits, just the natural fruits that I've got at home. I'm going to slice up and puree an apple and then add the juice from a lemon into the mango puree. So as you can see, I chopped up the apple and then I had an extra mango that I just threw in with it to puree. And if you can see the particles, I left the skin on the apple. The particles are really, really small, so it's really ground up, extra fine, so I can add it into my puree. I'm going to add the juice from one lemon into the puree as well. And then we will start heating. So now that we have the mango puree with the apple and lemon juice, I'm going to add some chunks of mango, and I do that by slicing into the mango vertically first, then I'll turn it to cut the opposite direction. And as I saw online, this is called the hedgehog way to slice up a mango. So I like to have chunks in my jam. This will give me those little bits. And I'll just scoop it right into the puree. So now we are back to making our mango jam. As I was heating earlier, the baby woke up, so everything gets shut down. On pause, I put the mix in the refrigerator before it actually got to any high temperature so that I could come back later. Now everyone's in bed and I can continue with the jam. So in the pot I've got the mango puree with the chunks, the pureed apple, and the lemon juice. I'm going to add the sugar. Typical jam ratio is about 1 to 2, 1 part sugar to 2 parts of the puree. With mangoes being so sweet, I will reduce that ratio to maybe 1 to 3 or even 1 to 4. My last batch of mango jam, I did a 1 to 3 and it turned out nice, maybe a little sweet for my personal liking. So this time I'm going to try a 1 to 4, test it out, give it a taste, see if I like it. If I need to add more, I will. Otherwise, I'll just keep it at about 1 cup of sugar for the 4 cups of puree. So I've got my 1 cup of sugar here that I'm just going to mix into the puree. There we go. So you can see the puree here with the sugar. I'm just mixing everything around, get it all incorporated, and we will let that heat up over a medium-high heat. I've been stirring the mix now for about 10 minutes. It is starting to bubble on a medium-high heat. So what we're looking for is to get the entire mixture up to 220 degrees Fahrenheit, so approximately 105 Celsius. That should take between 30 minutes to an hour. I'll just keep stirring until we reach that temperature, adjusting the heat need be. I'm going to check it right now just after the 15 minutes or so that we've been stirring at about 160 degrees Fahrenheit, about 70 degrees Celsius. So I've still got some time. We're going to let this stir until it reaches that 220. So this is what it looks like after about 15 minutes of stirring. We've got a nice bubble happening. It's becoming a little more transparent, but not quite the consistency or the temperature that we're going to be looking for with the final product. One of the ways that you can test to see if the jam is at the temperature you want it to be is to get a plate and you put a dollop of the heated mixture onto the plate and you test to see if it starts running. If it really starts running, it's not ready, but if it sticks to the plate and does not start to slide, then your temperature has been reached for a jam or jelly, and you can just start letting it cool. I know this isn't quite at the temperature I want it, but I'll show you what I mean by running on the plate. So I'm just going to put a little dollop here, and you look to see if it starts running. And you can see it's just sliding down that plate. So I'm not quite at temperature. We're going to let it keep going. So now we've been heating and stirring for about an hour. I'm at the consistency I want when I do the plate test. And I put a dollop on the plate. It's not running at all, so I'm at the consistency I want. I'm going to turn off the heat and let it just cool on the cooktop until it's cool enough to go into the jars for bottling. As you can see from before, it was that light colored puree. Now we've got a thick jam that has reached its high temperature. So this is the look of the jam now that it has cooled. It's very thick, and I'm going to just ladle it into my jar. I will check around the edges to kind of tap out any air bubbles. Okay, so I've finished making all of the jam. I've boiled it for 15 minutes in the boiling water in the canned containers. I'm going to let it all sit on my counter now for about 24 hours before I put it in storage, and either use it immediately or keep it in storage for about a year. It's a bit thick, so I'm going to research where I might have gone wrong, if you know what I did, because this is really my third time trying to can something. Please let me know. Okay, I want to do a quick follow-up as to why I think the jam came out too thick. When I didn't take into consideration that the fruit I was using, the peach mango, probably had a lot more pectin in it than regular mangoes. That's why they have a little more tart flavoring. And also they were more on the green side than being really yellow. So I think by having the additional pectin in the fruit and then adding the lemon juice and the apple, there was too much pectin, and it caused it to become kind of a really thick gel type substance. But I did research on how to repair this, and it's by opening up one of the jars, and you can reheat it, and you add either a little water or apple juice or grape juice to the mix, and that will help to thin it out a bit. The ratio they had was per 1 cup of mix or jam that you have, you add 4 tablespoons of the liquid, and that should help to make it a much smoother, easier spreading consistency. Okay, so I wanted to just update the video to kind of fix some of the errors that I had made, and hopefully if you try the recipe, you won't make the same mistakes I did, and your jam will turn out delicious. Thanks for watching. Bye.